Hello everybody, this is Graeme Anderson, and today I'm going to be looking at Rainbow Poker. Now I enjoy trick-taking games, and I have played poker once or twice before, but I don't think I've ever thought of putting the two games together like they did in this one. So Rainbow Poker has a basis of trick-taking. You're going to be bidding on how many tricks you think you're going to take, then play 5 rounds of tricks. But in this game, the winning tricks is based on poker hands. But not standard poker hands, as there are 5 ranked colors in this game. You know what, I know this sounds confusing. You might understand a bit more after the overview. So, will this game be a royal flush, or are you just left holding a high card? Let's get it to the table, see how it's played, and we'll come back with my final thoughts on Rainbow Poker. Here's Rainbow Poker set up for 4 players. The deck is made up of 80 cards. There are 5 different colors, and each color has 3 of each rank in the game: the 10, Jack, Queen, King, and Ace. Each rank also has 1 wild color. Each player is given a reference card which will show you the strengths of each color and what hands beat what, and I'll talk about that in a bit. Each player is also given 2 scoring cards to track their points throughout the game. Determine the first player by each player pulling a card until a purple card is pulled. That person is the first dealer. The dealer then deals out 15 cards to each player. Then, starting with the player to the left of the dealer, each person will get an opportunity to bid on the number of tricks they think they will win out of the 5 that are going to be played during the round. It has to be more than the previous bid, or they can just opt to pass. If it goes around the table with no one bidding, the dealer must bid at least 1. And whoever has bid the highest is considered the highest bidding player for the round. The trick-taking rounds can now begin. There will always be 5 tricks played, and they'll be always played in the same order. The first round, each player will place 2 of their cards face down in front of them. Then all players will reveal their cards. The hands are now ranked using the cheat sheet. Now the most important piece to remember when ranking cards is that you only ever consider 1 color in a person's trick played. So if I play 2 reds, and someone else has played a purple ace and a green ace, the 2 red 10s win because although the other player played 2 aces, they are not the same color or suit. So they really only played 1 purple ace, so a high card, not a pair. This rule goes for all normal poker hands as well. So a full house must be all of the same color. So 3 red 10s plus 2 blue queens is not a full house. It is only a 3 of a kind, the 3 red 10s. Now the only exception to this rule is the rainbow when you play 5 cards. It is the same rank, but each one is a different color. I should also mention that if you have multiple colors played in a trick, then the player with the most of a single color will win. So again, if I played a purple ace and a red king, I of course am playing a high card. If someone else plays 2 blue cards, let's say a queen and a king, they would win because the rule is in hands with more cards of the same color beat all hands with less color. So my opponent played 2 cards of the same color. I only played 1. So it doesn't matter that my ace high beats their king high. They played more of the same color, which is going to be the determining factor for this hand. It's also mentioned that the colors are also ranked if the numbers on the cards are identical. So 2 purple 10s beats 2 orange 10s because purple is a stronger suit. The winner of the 2-card trick will take the cards and place them in front of themselves. Then play continues with 3 cards played, then 4 cards, then 5 cards, and the final trick round is a single card played. All players will have used all the cards from their hand. Another thing you can do during the round is that any player who has won at least 1 trick can also bet 1 trick on a round. So after all players have played their cards for the round, a player might put one of their previously won tricks essentially into the pot. All other players who have previously won a trick must either put one of the tricks into the pot, or they are out of the round. There's no increase in the pot, it's only going to be 1 additional trick per player. If a player has won no previous tricks, then they automatically stay in the round. When resolving this round, determine the winner based on the players who stayed in the round. That is, the players who bet a previously won trick and the players with no tricks to bet in the first place. If the winner of the trick is a player who bet on the trick, they will win all the tricks that were bet and the current trick as well. If the winner of the trick did not bet because they had no tricks to bid, they will only win the current trick. They will not win the other bet tricks. You then go to the people who bet and figure out which one of them won the remainder of the tricks. Once a round is over, that is the 5 tricks have been played, we go on to scoring. The highest bidder player will then see if they met their bid. If they did, they will score that many points irrespective of how many tricks they actually won. So if you are a high bidder by saying you will win 2 tricks, and you actually end up winning 4 tricks, you only score the 2 points that you originally bid. If the highest bidder did make their bid, they are the only player to score points this round. If the highest bidder did not make their bid, they will not receive any points, but all other players will get points based on the number of tricks that they won during the round. The game is over when one player reaches or exceeds 11 points. They will then win the game. If no player has reached 11 points at the end of the round, then they start another round with the player to the dealer's left now becoming the dealer. So that's how you play. Let's get back to see what I thought about Rainbow Poker. Since there's no theme in this game, I'm going to quickly talk about the components. The cards themselves are good quality. They have a nice linen finish to them, but unfortunately the cards are not left-hand friendly, but they did try to make them colorblind friendly by having a little rainbow kind of beside the numbers here to kind of show you how strong that suit is, which can also be used to distinguish the different colors. So, on to the gameplay. And I'll start by saying this is a strange mix. The trick-taking piece feels a little weird as you normally are deciding what to play when, but here, since you know it's going to be a set order, you know the 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, you're doing all of your pre-planning before the first card is even played. I found that each round, about 90% of the time, was spent kind of looking at your cards when you first got them and arrange them in the order you want to play. Very rarely did anyone I played with kind of ever change their mind mid-round. The actual playing of the tricks was quick. I felt that the game lacked some of the essence, though, of what I like in a trick-taking game, the assessing of what has been played, what's still in your hand, and trying to determine what to play when. And honestly, the poker side feels a little weird as well, because you're only playing with a 10 through ace, but with multiples of each in each color. So just because I have a purple straight doesn't mean someone else doesn't have exactly the same purple straight. So on to the bidding. I also felt this was a little clunky. It is extremely difficult to know how good your hand is or not, especially if you play with less than 5 players, because there's going to be 20 plus cards which are not in play, which really kind of makes it more of a guess than any real sense of how good your hand is. I do like, though, that the once around the table bidding, if you think you have a decent hand, bidding 1 is probably not good. But how high do you bid? Because if you are a high bidder, it's going to affect your score at the end of the round. I like the concept and thinking through that, but felt it was slightly nothing more than really a slightly educated guess at the lower player counts. The game itself, again, works, but feels clunky. The ranking of the hands never felt smooth or quick, and it was not straightforward because you're taking the idea of poker, you know, full house, straight, high cards, but overlaying that with the idea they have to be the same color, and that the colors have rankings themselves. Even the number of the same colors matter, which again makes it feel a little clunky. I'm not sure what they could have done to smooth this out, because you're asking people who may be familiar with poker, even if you've not played a lot, to change how they think about those poker hands. So yes, the hands are like poker, but not exactly, and maybe just different enough to confuse people. And finally, the betting. Again, this feels like they were trying to get more poker into trick-taking game, but I feel it actually worked better than some of the other aspects, even if it was only useful for less than half of the rounds, as you really couldn't do it in the first 2 rounds, and even the third round made little sense. But there was definitely strategy to this action. I found it was done almost exclusively in the last round of the game, and quite often started by the person who was the high bidder. If they were not going to make their bid, they would almost always do the betting, because there's no huge downside to them except maybe giving up some points to the other players. If they were going to make their bid, though, they would almost never participate in the betting to stop the other players from scoring. The other players had a little more to think about. You know, making sure the high bidder doesn't get the required tricks is important, so maybe you stay out of that last round betting. But if you think you can win the trick, then maybe you can participate and get even more points. So would I recommend this game? This one is hard, as it really doesn't fit into what I think of as a trick-taking game. So I can't say, oh, if you like trick-taking games, you gotta try this one. It also doesn't fit with kind of poker players. It's too different from poker for me to really say, oh, if you like poker, you gotta try this. But I think I actually would recommend this one. Even if it is different and clunky, I recommend that you maybe try it, because it is different. I liked the idea of the game, mixing the 2 popular and different card games into something I felt was unique by adding the color ranking. Unfortunately, though, I felt that as much smoothing as they tried to do to make the 2 games mesh, I'm not fully sure that it worked. The hand rankings were definitely unintuitive. The bidding felt a little more than guessing, especially at the lower player counts, and the betting, although interesting, usually only happened in the last round or 2. So I'm going to give this game a 6.5 out of 10. I liked that they tried something different, but because of that, they ended up with something that really doesn't fit neatly into either camp. But just maybe that is something you're looking for if you play a lot of card games. Something that is a little different. And that's it for the moment. Until next time, thanks for watching.